We've voted, we've lost, and we've won. We won 2/3 of the National Assembly. We've gone to negotiations. We've done everything, and we will continue to do so. But what we ask is that the sight always remains in making political change towards democratization possible for the Venezuelan people. That's what we ask the American government. That's what we ask Congress. That's what we ask the American people. That's what we ask the rest of the continent.
He's not being completely honest here. He did say elections, but diplomatic support for free and fair elections is not all that his political faction asked from the American government. They've asked for money. A lot of money. Several times. For years. The US has given money directly to the interim government as aid to help it function until it could acquire its own capital from the regime's assets frozen abroad. The US has also spent over $1 billion in multiple aid packages for Venezuela through USAID over the last 6 years. There are a lot of Venezuelans asking what happened to all the humanitarian aid that these $1 billion+ could have bought, because they sure as hell never saw millions and millions of dollars worth of humanitarian aid, neither inside the country, nor when they were sleeping in the streets of Colombia, or hiking through the Darien Gap, or trying to get asylum when they crossed the Rio Grande and were locked up by ICE. Lopez probably knows exactly where most or all of the US humanitarian aid funds have gone and continue to go as the US makes more payments according to the current USAID treaty with the interim government. He's one of the big fish in Juan Guaido's party and is commonly known as the young Guaido's political mentor. He's the only Venezuelan that Guaido's failed April 30th uprising actually freed, which is very telling. Esteban Hernandez of Contrapoder News asked Lopez about the humanitarian aid funds at the Oslo Freedom Forum in October 2021.
Está muy relacionado con ellos y han habido acusaciones recientes por parte de incluso partidos políticos de Venezuela que han apuntado hacia su partido Voluntad Popular y hacia su persona directamente con respecto al tema de monómeros y también con el tema de la ayuda humanitaria. Quisiera que nos dijera, porque siempre dicen que ningún líder ni ninguna organización manejó recursos, ¿no? Sino que lo hicieron las ONG, que nos diera por favor los nombres de las ONG que lo manejaron. Muchas gracias. ¿Se pudiera identificar el medio de Contrapoder News, Esteban Hernández. Contrapoder News.
Here's what Lopez said.
Bueno, buenos días, muchísimas gracias. Gracias por la invitación, muy contento por estar aquí en el Oslo Freedom Forum. Creo que en estos últimos años ha crecido mucho este espacio. Un espacio para quienes estamos convencidos que hay que luchar por la libertad, por los derechos humanos y para la conquista de la democracia en los países en donde no la tenemos.
Oh my gosh, answer the question already.
Con respecto a tu pregunta muy concreta, te respondo como la respondió el gobierno norteamericano. La ayuda humanitaria en el año 2019 fue entregada por USAID, por Estados Unidos, y tal como lo dijeron en reiteradas oportunidades, el gobierno interino de Juan Guaidó no administró ni un solo dólar de lo que fueron los recursos destinados a la ayuda humanitaria. Eso lo dijo incluso recientemente cuando le volvieron a preguntar a Elliot Abrams, que era la persona encargada del tema de Venezuela durante la administración de Trump. Y eso es así. Allí no ha habido una administración directa de esos recursos.
Bueno, no había una administración directa, tampoco hubo una respuesta. Esteban.
No, totalmente.
Let's break that down. Lopez starts off with a whole bunch of fluff about the Oslo Freedom Forum and the very concept of freedom, none of which have anything to do with the question, so it's obviously a tactic to stall for time. When he finally gets to the humanitarian aid, he plays a few rhetorical tricks. First, he nails down the humanitarian aid funds to the year 2019. 2019 is just one year in several that the US has given aid funds to Venezuelan NGOs and foreign NGOs serving Venezuelan migrants and refugees. Between 2017 and 2022, Uncle Sam has doled out over $1 billion to Venezuela and Venezuelans, but the average person has not seen a dime of that. Next, Lopez hides behind the US government, saying he's citing the US government's public declarations that the Venezuelans did not administer even $1 single of the humanitarian aid funds. That is a bold-faced lie, on two separate counts. What the director at the time of USAID actually said is that USAID never sent any money to the Venezuelan interim government. It sent the money to NGOs. The U.S. Agency for International Development did not say that no Venezuelan had administrative power over any of the humanitarian aid funds. That's the first part of the lie. The other lie is that the Venezuelans had nothing to do with administering the aid money. We now know, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, that not only were the Venezuelans involved in how the aid money was allocated, but the currently active contract between USAID and the interim government specifically identifies Ambassador Carlos Vecchio as the principal grantee, the chief officer in charge of implementing the aid programs funded by the agreement. Moreover, the Venezuelan Embassy's Office for International Cooperation was given the responsibility of deciding how these funds were allocated. That means if Uncle Sam was the executive producer financing the production of this novella, Carlos Vecchio was the director, and he decided which actors got paid and how much. It's on paper, in a federal government document that's public record. Yes, the Vichy opposition was absolutely in control of the humanitarian aid funds. Leopoldo Lopez lied through his teeth to Esteban's face right in front of the free world's rolling cameras. And worst of all, he didn't actually answer the question. Esteban asked who some of these NGOs are, and he did not name a single one. Oh, and by the way, for extra context, it's also in the USAID contract that the US will continue funding NGOs chosen by Carlos Vecchio until September of 2024, right before the presidential election. That changes things, doesn't it?